For our next speaker, we have Shaniqua Jones. Shaniqua Jones is a full-time student of the Doctorate of Interdisciplinary Leadership program here at Governor State University. She's a servant and authentic leader of our student body, modeling the way and encouraging the heart. Shaniqua has a diverse background in academics and professional experiences, which has inspired her to be a passionate advocate of restorative justice as it relates to building meaningful relationships, promoting accountability, and operating in a safe environment. Shaniqua will be presenting on implementing restorative justice.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Shaniqua Jones, and I'm a doctoral student here in the Interdisciplinary Leadership program, and my subject is restorative justice, be the change you seek. So just for a moment, I want you to close your eyes and think about a time when someone may have caused harm to you, or you may have harmed someone. And then the question is, what was done or not done to make it right? So I asked that question because that was asked of me back in 2012 in one of my courses when I was obtaining my master's degree. And so I learned about this philosophy called restorative justice. And as you can see, I've given you a definition of what restorative justice is. But to sum it up, restorative justice is an alternative approach to punitive systems, whether it's in school, whether it's in the prison or judicial system. And so, appreciative dreaming. What might your home, your classroom, your school, and a workplace be like if restorative justice was a way of life? These are some terms that describe restorative justice as it goes from respect to inclusion, recognition, consideration, empathy, safety, appreciation. Restorative practices. So a lot of times when people think about the philosophy of restorative justice, they don't differentiate between restorative justice and restorative practices. While restorative justice is a philosophy, restorative practices are different approaches, whether they're talking circles, victim-offender mediation, family conferencing. There's so many different terms when it comes down to restorative practices. And so when you think of restorative practices, a lot of times people talk to you, or they neglect you, or they talk for you. But when you talk about restorative practices, it's doing things with people, not doing it for them or to them. Restorative practices reaffirm relationships. So give you an idea of how restorative practices can be implemented in your everyday life. And a lot of times when people think about restorative justice or how to implement restorative practices, they tend to think about in the classroom setting. But it doesn't have to be in the classroom. It can be in your everyday walk of life. It can be in your workplace, or how you can build relationships and have those relationships be more meaningful and purposeful, and to understand people's similarities as well as their differences. So there could be some common similarities as well as being able to communicate face to face, while now we live in this microwave situation where everybody looks for instant gratification. Everyone wants to answer, everyone wants to text, email. No one does the face-to-face communication. So when you talk about restorative justice and you talk about restorative practices, it's basically getting back to the things that we used to do. And one practice that I love in particular is the talking circle. And so we'll move on to that. Start something that matters. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. A lot of times we tend to have questions, or we make assumptions. And opposed to making assumptions, it's better off to just start the conversation. And one way is a smile and hello. Community change agents. So when I was talking to Dr. Wagner when we were discussing this summit, he wanted me to kind of discuss some of the things that I've been able to do. And restorative justice is my passion. So therefore, if you look at some of the pictures, these are community change agents that are coming from the school system, as well as our restorative justice practitioners that came together to say, hey, how can we break away from the zero tolerance policy that when a student is in school and there's an altercation, a lot of times, let's think about it, when there's a conflict between two individuals and they're removed from the only structure they may know, and they're suspended, and they're probably not even being supervised at home, they come back to school, has the situation been resolved? 9 times out of 10, it hasn't. So what we've been able to do is work together in the school systems to figure out a way how we can break away from the zero tolerance policy, and how can we implement restorative practices in the classroom so there is a community. Primary education. This is a peer mediation group that I've been able to work with, and this is what I call giving it back or paying it forward. These are 7th and 8th grade students from my alma mater grammar school. 7th and 8th grade students that come up with we developed a peer mediation group. So research shows that when peers handle situations or conflicts amongst each other, that it eliminates the tension in the classroom. It allows the teacher to actually teach and not necessarily deal with behavioral issues, as well as break away from that zero tolerance policy that's been implemented. Some of the other things I've been able to do is speak publicly about restorative justice, restorative practices, and these are some of the things I've been able to do over the last 3 or 4 years. So with that being said, when we talk about restorative justice, I want to put this plug in because, for one, we offer restorative justice courses here. So we have peer circles facilitator training that is coming up in the intersession in December. And so you could take it as a non-credit course, or you could take it as a credit. So if you're not a student, you could take this for a fee. And if you're a credit student, then you'll take criminal justice 3860. So with that being said, even after December, spring courses, you have 2 courses. One is Foundations of Restorative Justice, and the other is Restorative Justice Practices. This is my contact information, and that is everything. And if you have questions, and if you want to learn more about restorative justice, I'm here on campus every day. When I say Sunday through Saturday, I'm here every day. Thank you so much.